Hello, and welcome back to this month's installment of Leadership Live, where I host candid discussions with industry leaders on the intersection of business and technology. I'm Christine Middleton from Zoho for Enterprise, and joining me today is Nirupa Mathew, Deputy Executive Program Officer at Smarter Balanced. Nirupa has over 20 years of teaching, education technology, and business experience, driving innovative product strategy and research-based design improvements. Most recently, she has been focused on exploring ethical ways to use artificial intelligence to drive greater language access for students within the Smarter Balanced assessment system. Let's welcome her now. Hi, Nirupa. Nice to see you. Nice to have you on our live stream today.
Hi, Christine. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. To get us started, I would love if you can tell us a little bit about your experience with our topic today.
Yeah, I'd love to. So, as you said in the intro, I've been in management consulting, a classroom teacher, and in education technology for over 20 years. I've worked for profit companies as well as not for profit organizations. And despite crossing teams and companies and industries, I have observed both in myself as well as in others similar patterns that create cultures of innovation.
Thank you. Absolutely. So let's get right into the questions. I'm sure you have a lot that you can share with us today. So, with the first one, I would like to ask you, what role does diversity play in cultivating an innovative culture?
Yeah, I truly just don't believe you can have an innovative culture without diversity. It is actually the unique perspectives, lived experiences, and varied identities that often bring the new, fresh, and different ideas. So, those types of diversities do bring multifaceted discussions and creativity. And the more diverse my teams have been, the further the thinking has been stretched. People are often grown in environments like that, and innovation is explored in new and different ways. As teams with diverse perspectives explore open ended ideas, the differences that folks bring is what allows for depth of discussion. And the depth of discussion is what allows for comprehensive problem solving. So I've seen this type of open mindedness and embracing of alternate viewpoints and that have created really meaningful shifts in thinking. And ultimately, that's what's been driving inclusive and impactful innovations. I often think as leadership leaders, it's critical that we're not just intentional about building teams that are diverse in background, thought processes, skills, and experience, but we also take the time to encourage people to bring those differences to their daily work. That we discourage conforming to mainstream or dominant thinking or what has always been done and known and remains the same. That's when people really unmask and bring their authentic selves. And that's when I've seen people flourish, bring rich perspectives and new ideas and varied approaches to the team and to products.
Absolutely. No, that's very insightful and a very valid point as well. I mean, that's so true when you have so many different people from different walks of life. They all have different experiences that they can bring to the table. Um, so thank you for that. What I would like to ask you next is, what strategies can we implement to foster a culture of creativity and innovation?
I think when it comes to this, always starts from the leadership. I think leadership supporting and creating avenues to engage in innovative conversations and explorations is critical. And I think the way that that often begins is through thoughtful communication that honestly and specifically builds people up. There has to be intentional and consistent communication around people's strengths and contributions that's supportive and encouraging. If we can build confidence with small things, then folks often feel empowered to take on bigger things with passion. They start to believe in themselves and they can start taking risks. And this can be through recognitions, just one on one conversations at check ins, pointing out specific wins, showing them their impact on the products and services, and then even small things like team shout outs or notes of appreciation. I also like to set up cross functional conversations that break down silos within groups. Oftentimes, when we allow teams to really hear what each other is doing and thinking, even when it doesn't directly impact their day to day work, it creates space for collaboration and input. And I'm often the most inspired by people when I learn what other teams are doing. It gives me a viewpoint and a perspective and a way of doing things differently that I often haven't seen before, and starts to shift my thinking and my approach. Some of the ways I do this practically is prioritizing my one-on-one check-ins, both with my direct reports and skip levels, checking in and showing intentional care and investment, providing feedback together, continuous feedback loops from people. Like, how can we improve what's working? What's not working for you? Regular retrospectives, I think, are also really helpful to build upon wins and think of solutions to problems together. And then refining and improving innovation incrementally over time. So sometimes we think of innovation as these big wow things, but sometimes just the small improvements lead to larger innovations because it creates a trajectory for people to be able to walk. I think creating space for innovation also means managing your team's workloads. There has to be room made for thinking, reflecting, adjusting, building out new ways of doing things. And so this means really actively listening to your teams and managing their priorities, meeting free times to create environments that foster creativity and deep thought in order to create that culture of innovation is also a critical strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. So, kind of like starting that nurture higher up and then letting that trickle down, and that would really help kind of bolster more innovative thinking amongst different teams, and also transparency, like through the silo as well. So you can understand what other teams are working on, you can learn from it, you can add to it.
That's
No,
right.
absolutely. Thank you. That was very insightful. And now finally, I wanted to ask you, how do we ensure that failure is viewed as a stepping stone to innovation rather than a setback?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, building trust and safety is first. Innovation culture is deeply entwined with risk taking, and making thoughtful, well researched risks should be modeled and encouraged. Failure should never be a bad word, and instead, it should be embraced as long as it can be seen as a learning opportunity and a step towards greatness. So, fear in my mind and for me is the biggest inhibitor to innovation. If people are afraid, feel unsafe, or are concerned about punishment or been shamed, they're unlikely to take risks, experiment, or choose to engage in innovative conversations or experimentation. And sometimes it is that risk taking and productive struggle that innovation really needs to build off of. In my experience, discussing what worked, didn't work, and why breeds cultures of reflection and thoughtfulness. And then you start to reflect upon your failures and mistakes more as an opportunity to learn and a growth experience. Failing forward has been a mantra of mine for the last 5 years. And it means really adopting a mindset of moving ahead and growing and acknowledging that making mistakes is not just a natural part, but expected. Failures have honestly been some of my personal best professional development. And when I'm personally reflective, my greatest periods of growth and development have honestly been from my mistakes and failures. There's something about that experience that is a challenge that allows that moment to be not meeting success as seeing ways to build stepping stones towards success and alternate paths. And as leaders, I think it's something we need to be more open and vulnerable about is our failures and our mistakes, and sharing that with our team and making it normal to be able to see those things as learning opportunities and modeling the types of thinking we need to really employ. We need to be able to brag about our failures as much and even maybe more so than our successes, and the ways in which we approach mistake making and thinking about it reflectively. I do believe that for myself, feeling forward has developed in me deeper critical thinking and more thoughtful problem solving. It's allowed me to have different angles to innovative team discussions. And sometimes it helps you to be able to see pitfalls and make better risk assessments and thoughtful decisions than you would have prior to having that experience. And so I think it's critical that we invest not just in our teams, but in our peers, in managing up with our leaders, so that we help people within our organizations and team environments to really feel seen and known and cared for and supported in making informed risk taking, and to normalize failure as part of the growth and innovation culture. When I feel like I have been supported in those ways, I know that I've been more motivated, energized, and committed to doing things better and differently, and just really driven to bring success to my entire organization. And I strive to do the same for my own teams.
No, I love that. I feel like based on what you're saying, I mean, that fear of failure is what's really going to set you back more than the failure itself, you know, because from what you're saying, yeah, you fail, but then you learn from it and you see what not to do, or you have more of an experience to kind of look forward and be like, okay, last time I did this, let me not do this the next time. And so that does
Exactly.
foster in totality like innovation in itself. Um, that brings us to the end of our session. Thank you so much once again, Nirupa, for joining us. You shared a lot of insight onto how to cultivate a culture of innovation in the workspace. And so we'll open the chat up for anybody who has any questions. We would love to answer them live right here, right now. So we will open that up. And anybody who has anything that you would like to add to it or any questions for Nirupa or myself, please feel free to drop that in here. We'll be more than happy to answer that. All right. Okay, well, if we don't have any questions, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today. And oh, yes, we do have a comment from Elizabeth who says, "Nice job, Nirupa Mathew. Love the feel forward mantra." Absolutely. I've never heard that before. Is this like something that you've come up with, or?
I probably read it in a blog or something, but it really resonated deeply with me. And I think it's such a great visual for the perspective that you want to be able to take and the mindset
Yeah.
you want to be able to adopt.
Absolutely, I agree. I love that too. I'm gonna hold on to that one personally as well. Failing forward.
Thanks, Christine.
Um, all right. If we don't have any questions, we'll close the session for today. Also know that if you do have any other questions that pop up later on, you can always drop them in the comment box underneath this video. You can view it on all of our social media channels. You can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn and Twitter as well. I would like to thank everyone once again for joining us, and thank you again, Nirupa, for sharing your insights on this very interesting topic. And we will see you in the next one. Thank you.
That's good.